JJ McCarthy, a lot of people are really high on this dude for some reason. Many people feel like he can be a first round pick in the 2024 NFL draft. But anytime I watch JJ McCarthy against a good team, this dude does not look that good to me. And you can call me a hater all you want to, but I'm just finna tell you the real. Anytime JJ McCarthy is put in situations when he has to carry Michigan to a win, he's unable to be able to do it. Last year, when they lost in the semifinals in upset fashion to TCU, he wasn't good in that game. He threw an interception, a costly pick six, and he only completed 58% of his passes. Against Maryland last week, he went 12 of 23. He completed 52% of his passes. He threw a costly interception before halftime in the red zone. And last year, against Ohio State, his best game of that season last year, when he threw 3 touchdowns, he wasn't even good in that game. Outside of the busted coverages that Ohio State had, JJ McCarthy was nothing special. He completed 50% of his passes in that game. Against Penn State this season, he only threw the ball 8 times. There's a reason why Michigan chose not to throw the football that much in the game. And it wasn't because the run game was that dominant. The run game was impressive. But anytime you only throw 8 passes in the game and you run the ball 30 times consecutively to end the game, that's a sign that you don't trust your quarterback. And I don't trust JJ McCarthy against Ohio State. He's Michigan's biggest weakness. Michigan has a great defense, a great offensive line, and a pretty talented group of wide receivers. And we know about the talent that they have at running back in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. That's the best 1-2 punch in America. But if Ohio State slows down the rushing attack of Michigan, and this becomes a game that Michigan has to lean on JJ McCarthy's arm to win, they're going to lose, and they're going to lose in embarrassing fashion. This dude is not as good as a quarterback as what a lot of people make him out to be. He has a really good arm and great athleticism, but he doesn't read defenses properly. Sometimes he takes too long to throw the football on timing routes. Like, there was an interception that he threw against TCU that got took to the house on the out route because he took too long to throw that thing. JJ McCarthy, he has a lot to prove against Ohio State. Like, I'm tired of people overhyping this guy when his best performances have came against terrible teams. Against Penn State, I'm not going to harp on him too bad because he did go 7-8 and there was really no need to throw the football. But against Maryland, he sucked. And if you're a Michigan fan, I know you're going to come down in the comment section and you're going to defend JJ McCarthy. Oh, well, he threw 3 touchdowns against Ohio State last year. Oh, who cares about his stats against Penn State? We got the win. Let me tell you something. Ohio State and Ryan Day, y'all embarrassed these guys the last 2 years. You guys were more physical than Ohio State. You guys just imposed your will on Ohio State. If you think that Ohio State is about to allow you to run the football 30 straight times consecutively the way you did against Penn State, you're going to be in for a rude reality check. And I expect Ryan Day to have these guys really amped up. If I'm Ryan Day, I'm giving one of the most passionate, one of the most emotional pregame speeches in football history. Hell, if I'm Ryan Day, I might just go out there and pay a little bit of cash to Ray Lewis to come to get me a little bit amped up for this game. But Ohio State, those guys are going to be really amped up. They're going to be coming into this game looking to make a statement after you've embarrassed them the past 2 years. And I doubt that Ohio State is going to allow Michigan to win this game the same way they did against Penn State. And Ohio State's defensive line is way too good for that to happen. And their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, this dude has tremendously turned around this defense. I doubt that Ohio State is going to allow Michigan to come into that game and just do their bread and butter, run the football 40, 50 times down their throat. That's not going to happen. And I'm willing to put money that happens. I'm willing to put money that Michigan doesn't have more than 120 yards rushing in this game. I doubt that Michigan's going to win this game throwing the football less than 10 times. And I'm willing to put as much money on the line as you're willing to bet with me and that you're willing to pay. If you think that Michigan can win this game throwing the football less than 10 times, please DM me on Instagram and X You see the handles down below? Like, please DM me because I would love to take your money. This Ohio State team, they're going to be way too juiced up, way too amped up for Michigan just to run the football and just out physical them for a third straight year in a row. JJ McCarthy needs to go out there. He needs to make some big time throws. And you're not going against the same Ohio State defense when you had blown coverages and missed assignments last year. You're going up against one of the best defenses in college football. Look, Kyle McCord, this dude isn't nothing to write home about neither. I would take JJ McCarthy over Kyle McCord. I'm not saying this dude is garbage, but he's not one of the best quarterbacks in college football like people hype him up to be. Hell, I was on Reddit a couple of days ago, and you wouldn't believe the post I came across. Caleb Williams is overrated. Like, when the draft process comes around, I will put JJ McCarthy over him. Like, fool, are you crazy? Like, stop scouting football. Stop trying to be a GM or a scout if you think that JJ McCarthy is better than Caleb Williams. Like, there's no way in hell if Michigan had the opportunity to choose between JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams that they will pick JJ McCarthy over Caleb Williams. That's insanity. But this is the kind of talk that I've been hearing about JJ McCarthy. I've seen him in the first round of nearly every single mock draft that I come across every morning. Like, JJ McCarthy is not that good. He needs to prove himself against Ohio State this year. Fuck what he did last year. That was last year, and he wasn't even good in that game. A lot of his plays came on busted coverages. He hasn't completed higher than 50% of his passes and the majority of games that they played against a competent team. I want to see him have a game when he can come out and go 17 to 24 passing for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and no picks. I just need to see more out of JJ McCarthy because the hype that he's getting is not deserved. Like, this dude has been good against Bowling Green and Indiana, the bottom feeders of the Big Ten and college football. But against Penn State, yeah, he went 7-8. You didn't need to throw the football. But against Maryland on the road, this dude looked like he was shot. He needs to prove himself against Ohio State. Like, Kyle McCord isn't nothing to write home about neither. But the difference between Kyle McCord and JJ McCarthy is that JJ McCarthy doesn't have a Maserati Marv that he can lean on when the offense goes flat. Kyle McCord's job is not that hard. Throw the football to Marvin Harrison Jr. and make sure that you don't turn it over, and that's it. JJ McCarthy, Roman Wilson is a solid wide receiver, but he's nowhere close to Marvin Harrison Jr. You see, JJ McCarthy, if Michigan gets in a situation when that run game isn't going and they need him to carry them to a win, I don't trust them to get it done. I think he's the biggest weakness of Michigan football going into this big-time matchup against Ohio State. And Jim Harbaugh isn't going to be on the sideline either. So let's say JJ McCarthy gets out to a slow start. Who's going to be able to pick him up? Who's going to be able to get him juice? Because it seems like the dude who has the most belief in JJ McCarthy is Jim Harbaugh. And he's not going to be on the sideline for that game. JJ McCarthy, he's the biggest weakness for the Wolverines going into this matchup against Ohio State. And it may seem like I'm hating on JJ McCarthy, but if you actually watch these games and if you're a Michigan fan and you can actually put your fandom aside and be subjective, you probably would agree that JJ McCarthy doesn't play his best football in some of Michigan's best games. Michigan's identity is running the football. And if Ohio State takes that away, I feel really confident about the Buckeyes walking away with this victory.